I would never have wanted to play any other character other than Baldric in Blackadder, because I think one of the great things about it is that everybody plays their part perfectly. There is no other character that I could have played as well as Baldric, with the possible exception of Nursey. The only problem with being Baldric, the only cross that I have to bear, is that no fan has ever asked me anything funny about Baldric whatsoever. They believe they have, and when they ask me the question, there is a look of such hysterical joy in their face. They know they are meeting someone who's about to burst into hysterical laughter because of what they've said. But they only ever say the same things. Do you have a cunning plan? What do you really think of turnips? That's about it. It's pathetic. Having played Baldric for so long, I would really like to play someone heroic. The person I would like to play would be King Alfred, the man who created England. Let everybody else be stupid. Let me be the heroic, slightly satanic, but basically very good guy with clear vision who's going to pull the country back off its knees. No one will ever ask me, but that's what I'd like. We had Baldric as Prime Minister for a number of years.
Well, the things we've thought of setting back, we seriously thought of setting it in the 60s, and I think we could have done a very funny job there, right in the middle of Carnaby Street and Pop and Harold Wilson. I think we could set it now, and that would be quite good fun. And I did think that we could set it, that there would be an amusing irony if we did one set actually when we wrote it. If we wrote one set during the Thatcher era, I think Blackadder would have been a very good servant of the state under Margaret Thatcher. I don't know. I mean, my favourite story about Blackadder is the fact that people used to yell "bah" at Stephen Fry when he walked past schools. That still amuses me.
The Germans that Hugh played and that Aid Edmondson played in the second series and the fourth series, that would have been fun. I can't remember a specific question that was strange, but I do remember receiving a fan letter from Death Row in California, where and this guy was he'd been on death row for a long time, and he was a fan of Blackadder on I think it was on PBS or something, but the idea of somebody watching that in their cell and finding it funny, especially when it's such an alien culture and set in a different period, that I wasn't quite sure how to take that. But I mean, it's a huge compliment on one level, and very weird. There was always talk about doing a cowboy Blackadder, if only for our own sake. It was entirely, it was nothing to do with whether the public liked the idea or not. Going off and making a film, a cowboy film with Blackadder on the Clint Eastwood sets in Spain. So I guess somebody like, whether you can make this funny or not is another matter. If Rowan were Wyatt Earp, then I'd be Doc Holliday. So a sort of consumptive Percy, a dying gunslinger would be great.
Estate agent with a pie frill, same costume really. It's those pie frill shirts, ghastly, convincing you that a one-bedroom basement is Hampton Court. They just go, oh, Queenie! Sort of inarticulately. Oh, Queenie! That's all they do. Chopped off any heads today? Something. What is the strangest thing? Oh, no, somebody said, do you realise that your life is spent chopping off heads? And I went, I'm sorry, I don't think so. And then they pointed out how many characters have got something to do with heads, and losing of heads and chopping off of heads. And it's not just Elizabeth, but that's a strange point that they seem to be right about. Oh, blimey. I don't know. Can I be T. Lawrence? Can I be Lawrence of Arabia? Thank you. If I had to be a lady, then maybe I should be Freya Stark then, who went to Arabia, you know, and had lots of things happen to her. One of those ladies who fancies herself.
I don't think the wet nurse will ever disappear from the scene. There's always some equivalent. I'm busy thinking. A carer at a home, you know, with lots of little kind of moo cows and fledglings and heifers to look after. She'd probably actually be a nanny.
25 years on, the Spanish Infanta would either be dead in childbirth, having died from repeated onslaughts, or she would be a dowager queen, twice as fat, twice as lusty, and probably in bed, never getting out of bed. Queen Victoria, of course, we know what happened to her. She would still be alive, dressed all in black, in mourning for her wonderful Albert, and leading the empire. I love Queen Victoria. I've tried to model myself on her a little. And Lady Whiteadder, well, let's hope she would have been f***ed from here to next week. I remember once I was on a plane. This is to show how powerful Blackadder's scripts were in people's memory. I was on a plane some years ago, and a lady whom I did not know, I think I was in economy, and a lady came up to me and said, "Have you got a cunning plan?" I had not quite remembered that that was in the script. So I said, "What?" She said, "Have you got a cunning plan?" And I giggled a little bit because I thought she was obviously mental, and I felt sorry for her. I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Have you got a cunning plan? You know." And I said, "No, I'm sorry, I don't know." And she said, "Blackadder, have you got a cunning plan?" And then, of course, I realised. So I think that's just a sign to me that it bit into everyone's consciousness. Anyone else in history, I'd like to be Queen Elizabeth I. She had red hair, she was thin and tall. She only bathed once a month. And she had huge power and sexuality. And she knew how to use words. And she was the Queen of England. That'll do.